Today we're ranking every Major League Baseball team on a tier list, but it's going to be based on what we think their ceiling is. This is the best case scenario. This is the best case outcome. It's somewhat realistic. We're not saying, because every team's best case scenario would realistically be winning the World Series. We want to talk about where we actually think these teams could go if everything goes right for them in the 2026 season. Before we get going into it, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content. We appreciate you. Shout out all our members. You get access to videos early. All right, James, we've got the Arizona Diamondbacks up. We've got the tiers, World Series, playoff run, division, wild card, 500, and of course the ass tier. Where are we putting the Diamondbacks?
The Diamondbacks are such an anticlimactic start to this video because I have such little enthusiasm about the Diamondbacks this season, but they still could easily be a 500 team. I think that's where you get.
I mean, I think they could be in the wild card. Do you not?
Yeah, I kind of ignored the wild card tier when I was making my list because I don't really acknowledge the modern wild card system.
Ridiculous.
Again, especially because if you go 2 games over 500, you just make the wild card now. So these are so extraneous in my mind.
I guess
you're an 84 win team. Oh wow, look at you. But
in the National League, I guess a lot would really, really have to go right for the Diamondbacks to make the playoffs. But if they were to get Zach Allen back, that rotation all of a sudden isn't the worst in baseball. It's not good, but with that lineup of Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll and those guys, could maybe be good enough to be a borderline playoff team. I don't know. What do you think?
Again, because the last few years, last year 83 wins in the National League got you to the playoffs. The year before, I think it was 85 or 86 was the last wild
card.
And
I do think that will be more standard, that it's going to be higher, because last year it did take the Mets being unplayable the last month and a half for a bad team to make it like that.
But two years ago, the Mets were on fire for the last month and a half, and they still got it in the skin of their teeth with 85 wins. One thing that I will say about the Diamondbacks that can't get them to the wild card spot is that at some point mid-season this year, if they're staying above water, they probably do get Corbin Burnes, but also kind of more importantly for their roster construction, AJ Puck and Justin Martinez back. Because their bullpen is so much worse than their rotation. It's not even funny. And the bottom of their lineup is also horrific. Again, it's more says a bad thing about baseball. The Diamondbacks could be a wild card team, which is why I don't want to respect the wild card here and make them 500.
No, I'm cool with that. I'm fine with 500. You kind of convinced me. Snakes up. Can't stop, won't stop.
We love the Snakes.
Atlanta Braves. This is a team that been seeing a bunch of different content all over the YouTubes and the internet. Team that a lot of people are expecting to have a huge, huge year. Where do you feel like they're going on this tier list?
Well, we're making this tier list with the idea of ceiling, right?
Yep, it's ceiling. It's what could this team do if all the things do go right?
If everything goes right, they could win the World Series.
I kind of agree with you. We know they're kind of like a glass cannon right now, where as soon as there's one crack, all things could fall apart. But if this team is healthy all year, which obviously never happens, but if they're healthy all year, if you get the bounce backs from the guys that you expect, healthy Ronald Acuna, Spencer Strider isn't one of the worst pitchers in baseball. Yeah, they could definitely make a run with the Dodgers this season.
And I think I think they might be the team of pure ceiling have the best chance to do so.
Yes.
Maybe. At least one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the National League to do so.
Yeah, because their rotation, when healthy, is loaded, and if you're expecting the best outcomes from them, it's loaded. The bullpen still kind of a little bit shaky, but Iglesias and Suarez in the back end will be solid. It's one of the better ones in baseball.
That's what I'm saying. It could go wrong with those old guys in the back of the bullpen, but also if it goes right, that's a really good 8-9 punch.
Nope, I'm with you. World Series. All right, Baltimore Orioles. Well, we had to re-record because, as you can tell, we're in different clothes, and the Orioles did not sign Framber Valdez. We initially had them in playoff run. Does no Framber change your opinion, James? Because me and you felt differently about this team, and I think I had them at division, you had them at World Series. We came to the middle for playoff run.
I think I'd still put them in playoff run. I guess I gave him the World Series because of that. I really thought that was just such a match made in heaven, Framber to the Orioles. But with this rotation, we're talking about ceiling here. The ceiling on their top 3 is still an applicable ceiling to a playoff run, and the ceiling on their lineup I still think is one of the 3 or even the top lineup in baseball. But it's. Once you start not talking about ceilings, when you start to get much more scared about this team.
I mean, rotation-wise, again, ceiling, we're looking at what? Kyle Bradish can be an ace, right?
Yeah.
Who's there too?
I mean, Trevor Rogers was an ace for 2 months. I don't believe he will be again, but we just saw a ceiling. I guess it was being an ace.
And then 3?
Shane Baz.
Man,
ceiling.
I know. I still have a hard time thinking that ceiling-wise, realistic ceiling, that they are any more than division, especially because that's kind of where I stood before. I'm willing to still, I guess, go playoff run, but the lineup is so ridiculously good. Like, I think top to bottom, if we're talking ceiling realistically, that could be the best lineup arguably in baseball.
For sure.
The pitching's what scares me, but Bradish, I guess, is the X factor, right? If Bradish is what we saw at the end of last year, what we saw prior to injury, he is just going to be a top 20 pitcher in the game, and then all of a sudden that rotation does feel different, and maybe that's why they didn't sign Framber.
I mean, maybe they didn't sign Framber because they didn't want to pay the money to sign Framber. It seems much more likely. But Bradish is like the most certain guy in this rotation. The X factors are Rogers and Boss because you just don't know what those guys are going to be. Orioles fans yell at us all the time about forgetting Trevor Rogers when we do our short form content, but we remember we just both like Kyle Bradish a lot more than Trevor Rogers. I think it's fair to. It's just can he be even like 80% of what he was the end of last year? Can he be fit? Is he going to be 50% of what he was last year? Like, is he going to maintain the velocity gains he had that made him a much better pitcher at the end of last year? I don't know. I just don't know all the things. Same with Boz. Like, do you stay healthy? Do you have the breaking ball quality? Are you much better leaving Tampa Bay now in that horrible Steinbrenner Stadium they pitched in? Like, what? It's just a lot of unknowns, but ceiling conversation, there is applicable ceiling.
My argument, too, just to go against it, I'll leave him in playoff run, but we do talk so much about depth, pitching depth later in this video. They've got no pitching. They have zero pitching depth.
Oh, their floor. I think we should run back this exact exercise, but as every team's floor. And I think their floor is it's just above ass.
Yeah, it's 500.
Yeah, literally. I think that's how wide of a range of outcome this team has.
All right, we'll put playoff run for the Orioles again.
Also, same with a guy like Helsley. Like, talk about ceiling versus floor for Helsley. Like, Helsley might be
unpitchable.
He might be one of the 3 best closers in the league, or he might be one of the worst pitchers in the entire league. And anywhere in between would also make sense to me. It's like this team has a wide range right now.
No, that is true. They're definitely all over the place. Boston Red Sox. Talk about a team that I think is a World Series contender if all things go right. I think the roster's absolutely loaded. Again, similarly, I'm seeing some rankings, again, not even talking about ceiling with this team, feel like people are down on the Red Sox, and I kind of can't figure out why.
Well, one thing, and I think it's a fair critique, is that I'm really okay with being down on most of this lineup.
Yeah, why?
Because, again, right now we're talking about ceiling, and still, when you get past Roman Anthony, Contreras, I guess Durant to a degree, and Wilyer Abreu, you might not get one other hitter above league average besides Romy against lefties, like in this entire team. So you might.
That's a lot of good hitters, though. That's like 5 of the 9 guys.
I think that's not as many as most World Series contenders have. You know,
but then they also have great pitching, and I think their bullpen's very good.
The pitching's a huge deal, and the bullpen is definitely pretty good. They're a team to me where it was still playoff run for me rather than ceiling, rather than World Series contender as their ceiling, just because it's. Look, if you told me to stack up 2 team ceilings, I would take the Orioles over the Red Sox.
Really?
I think the Red Sox lineup, you just may have some major periods of inactivity here. Like, you're banking on a lot of these guys to have, again, that's what exercise is for, ceiling types of seasons to get anything that even resembles a top 10 lineup in baseball, production-wise.
I will say that it is insane that they apparently weren't even interested in Eugenio Suarez. Can't believe that at $15 million a year with a mutual option. Them not even giving him an offer is nuts.
And I guess the play there that they're trying to do is a move forward with defense. You know what I mean? Like they know they will not have the DH spot open on their team because of the Yoshida contract, all the outfielders they have, and they just gave a lot of money to Ranger Suarez, who defense will be a big part of his game, which is amazing how good he was with poor defense behind him. So maybe that's a way to get more out of Ranger Suarez. And also, that probably is a move to keep that door wedged open for Christian Campbell to jump back in. Like, Christian Campbell heading into this past season was considered one of the few best prospects in baseball, probably one of the 5 best offensively. So if you can see a world forward where Meyer's just your third baseman and Campbell's your second baseman, then maybe that changes the ceiling conversation. But when I look at this lineup on opening day, there are too many questions for me with it.
I guess I don't know. I'll put playoff run. I think you're not thinking of ceilings with these guys as much as you are with some of the other teams.
Sure, but
like Jarren Duran 2 years ago was like a 7-win player.
100%. I think that Jarren Duran, we've seen most of what we see in Jarren Duran's career. Where, like, I would be shocked if he has another 130 WRC plus season.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think you're a much bigger Jarren Duran guy than I am.
That's
you always
fair.
have been.
I always have.
I am super curious about where Jarren Duran's offensively lines up. Again, he's still a very good player, but I'm curious.
I put Orioles in playoff run. You want them World Series? Now we're even. We're
go.
tied up here. All right,
it's a deal.
Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
God, I really hate talking about this team, but it's probably just World Series, right?
I was thinking that too. At least playoff run. I was wondering where you're going to go because they're just so solid across the board.
Like the floor is incredibly high with this team, and
Yeah.
then like we always joke about it that their floor and their ceiling is like a nice tight sandwich. There's not a lot of meat in between, but at the same time, like that floor is high. And if Edward Cabrera does take that step forward, if Cade Horton continues to look like the pitcher he was in the second half, if Shota Imanaga looks like kind of like the original version that we saw of him at the major league level, again we're playing the ifs games. If Pete Crow Armstrong hits in the second half, like. They're probably just a World Series contender because this roster, top to bottom, is extremely solid.
And again, this is more of a ceiling conversation than a floor one. But even just having a guy like Matt Shaw, who's a capable defender in multiple positions and looks like he can probably be near a league average hitter, just to be the backup everywhere, like that helps. That really helps you. Shaw probably still has a ceiling. It helps that. Like PCA, if there's any growth whatsoever. And just these guys, it's just everyone's solid as hell across this team. Like I don't like talking about them either, but like they've put together a nice little squad.
Yeah, no, they're definitely a solid team, and I do think World Series is kind of a fair place. I do feel like they are a rung above the Orioles and Red Sox when we are talking about ceiling and consistency type stuff.
Which is funny because it's hard to spot ceiling on this Cubs team, but like you almost accidentally have to talk about their floor because it's so high.
Yeah. All right, Chicago White Sox. This one, I wish I could convince myself to 500, but I can't. I think they're still just going to be ass this year, and they'll be fun ass though.
Yes, they'll be very fun ass. Like this will be like like Kim Kardashian, but
Yeah, it'd be like whoa, okay, like I see you.
Like if there was a separate tier above ass for 75 wins, I would argue for the White Sox there, but sadly we don't have that.
No. We split enough hairs between wild card and 500. I couldn't split hairs between 81 wins and 75.
Yeah, no. But again, the White Sox will be probably some of the most fun ass in the league.
Like Murakami, Chaos Bullpen, and shout out my boy Sean Smith and Shane Burke. Shane Smith, Sean Burke. I missed it.
Shane Smith, Sean Burke.
Yeah, talk about a couple white guys right there. All right, let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds. We initially had them kind of in that division tier because their pitching's great and their offense was okay. They added Eugenio Suarez, and one of the things that we did talk about with this team is that while there are good players, again, kind of feels like a relatively high-ish floor team, there was no punch outside of like Ellie De La Cruz that really felt like honestly like a real punch. And Eugenio Suarez is just gonna hit 40 home runs if he's healthy, and he usually is healthy.
Yeah, it's good. There's still a lot of questions about who Eugenio Suarez is as a total player. Like he's going to swing and miss as much to get near 30% strikeouts. I don't think they're going to trust him to get on the dirt to play third base ever during this 1-year contract with this team, but hits the ball really hard, pulls it in the air, like in that ballpark. Like that's, again, like you said, good for 40. I am worried though about the ripple effect of this team trying to get more punch, but also losing some in the meantime, because before Suarez, it seemed like Sal Stewart was guaranteed for an everyday job with this ball club, either taking first base or DH, with him and like Spencer Steer kind of splitting those reps. Now with Suarez in the fold, Steer being a much better defender than Sal Stewart at first base. Sal Stewart didn't play first base as professional until 3 games in AAA last year before he got called up with the Reds, and then played about 11 games worth with the Reds. If they find this as an excuse to start Stewart in the minors again, which he has nothing to prove, he crushed minor league pitching last year, then you've kind of like robbed Peter to pay Paul, which I think, again, leaves him kind of in the same spot.
Now, don't you think that there is just a world where Suarez could even play first base? Or I know, like, maybe you don't trust him to play third, but maybe you just play him at third because the other option is Key Brian Hayes, who we're done with that. Enough of him. And Santiago Espinal, which, again, enough of them. Like, Key Brian Hayes can just be the Santiago Espinal for this team.
Espinal's not on the roster anymore.
Oh, he's not on it anymore?
He's still a free agent. Might be a future Met by the time this comes out. But I think that, I mean,
even more. Key Brian Hayes then just is Santiago Espinal.
They went out and traded for Key Brian Hayes last year, so I think they're going to give him some burn there. And he's such a good defender. You hit him ninth, whatever happens. Like you're probably still you hope to get a bounce back from Matt McClain. I want to see growth from Noelvi Marte. Like JJ Bleday, I don't know. Tyler Stevenson is fine.
Friedel.
TJ Friedel's a dog, but like, you know what you're getting out of TJ Friedel. And then it comes down to basically Ellie, Eugenio, and then I guess what I'm saying, if they go into spring training and there's murmurs that they're going to like put Stewart in the minor league so he can like pick up the position better, I'm like, okay, now how much better has your lineup actually really gotten here?
That's fair. The pitching is obviously the good thing here. We think the bullpen's a little bit slept on. It's not nearly as bad as people are making it out to be, especially because they showed at the end of the year last year. Like they're just good. Emilio Pagan has been great.
And they actually went out and made additions to this bullpen, like Brock Burke, Pierce Johnson, Caleb Ferguson. Like that's not sexy. You're not like screaming those names from the mountaintops. Like those
bullpen
guys are
oatmeal.
those guys aren't getting billboards in Cincinnati, but like that's how you fill out a major league bullpen right there. It was good work.
They should get Brock Burke a billboard in Cincinnati. What an upgrade over Brent Suter, who might have been on a billboard in Cincinnati. I wouldn't count that one out.
He still could be on a billboard in Cincinnati. Same with Pierce Johnson. Like he's gone up and down, but the guy's a relatively reliable relief pitcher. Like he's, especially last year, he still throws 95 miles an hour. Like it's a fine piece right there.
Yeah, and again, the starting rotation: Hunter Green, Chase Burns, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer. They have a million other guys that will go behind them too in terms of depth. Like this team, starting rotation-wise, has some of the better depth, especially with the guys up in AAA. The rotation's not one of the questions at all. That rotation can put them on a playoff run. It's just, do they have enough pop? That's the thing.
Yeah, again, like the depth being Rhett Lowther and Chase Petty, who were high-end prospects. Like I don't love how those guys have developed. But like as you're 6'7", like you're not. You could do a lot worse heading into the season.
Did you have you seen any of the offseason videos of Chase Petty's fastball?
No, I haven't. What's up with Chase Petty's fastball?
This is a weird one. He's been working out with Jack Kahanowitz, which I don't know what to make about that because that guy's got some of the worst stuff in all of baseball.
Good sinker though.
Great sinker. Gets absolutely torched. Chase Petty's fastball moves like a blitz ball.
Woo.
It's insane. Are you seeing it?
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. If that thing plays in game like that, I don't really know how anybody hits that fastball. It might be one of the better fastballs in the league if it moves like that.
Chase Petty's an all-time. Stuff looks unbelievable, like in the perfect condition pitching labs, and he gets on the mound, he just gets torched.
Jersey guy, I believe, Chase Petty too.
I guess he was part of one of these trades. Was he actually part?
He was the Twins one.
Yeah, he was. They
'Cause
got
I think
him
he was
and Steer.
I believe so. I think he was a Twins prospect, Twins first round pick.
I was going to say something else so funny about the Eugenio Suarez contract is that this is when his extension was supposed to end with the Reds right now.
Yes.
I think I mentioned that in the video we talked about him, but that's just so funny to me. This was when his extension ended. He came back. He was really happy to come back. He was like cheesing during the press conference and everything. He looked so thrilled to be back with the Reds.
Wouldn't you if you were a home run hitter who they're going to pay money to play in that ballpark? Like there's a world he stumbles into 60. If he cuts down his K rate by like 5%, he could just hit 60 home runs.
He talked about he had his first daughter when he was in Cincinnati the first time. He's played over 900 games as a Reds. It's just cool to see him go back.
That's pretty cool.
He said that she has not stopped rooting for the Reds because that's where she was born. She still loves the Reds. Like even during the Mariners run last year, she was like still cheering for the Reds.
I respect that. Good for the Suarez family. Good for the Reds. I still think they are division ceiling though.
I think so too. It's a fun ceiling for them to have.
Cleveland Guardians. What's really annoying about this one is you almost just have to say division because they're probably just going to get there. But again, it doesn't make sense in my head looking at this roster saying that their ceiling can be winning the division. In my head, what makes sense for them is like 500 ceiling because this team sucks.
I mean, but their 500 could win the division. I guess that's the caveat. But I'd still
so then wild card.
I guess maybe that's how we get someone in the wild card. But I'd be happy to put them there just to teach them a lesson because it's just this team is so bad.
All right, so wait, you want to teach them a lesson and put them in wild card or 500?
I would do 500, but I'm scared.
All right,
we just put them down there because they're just not good. I know they'll play better than they are, and they get the benefit of the doubt of being like the worst version of the American League Brewers. But just like even if they do sneak into wild card, we know they're not going to win that series. We just watch it happen.
Yeah, that's true. Like it's just maybe that's their ceiling then. Their ceiling is just the wild card. Yeah,
it is just a wild card. That's their entire ceiling.
Because maybe that will help you out here, James. Is not thinking about them making the wild card, but not making it to the out of the wild card round.
And I guess the truth of that is that is built for the Central teams because if you win the other divisions, you probably get the first round bye. But if you win the Central, you usually end up in the wild card series.
Yeah, and then you don't win it. You're the Guardians.
Yes, exactly. That's helpful for me.
Real quick, Colorado Rockies. It's just ass.
Ass.
Yeah, this team again is going to be so putridly bad. I can't believe they didn't sign Luis Arias.
I mean, it seems like he didn't want to. It seems like he wanted the chance to. He said play second base and hopefully try to win.
We got $12 million, so I mean, I'll play any position too for that much.
I mean, Suarez got 15. He just hit 49 homers.
Yeah, honestly,
good bad ball day though.
Giants should have just paid Eugenio Suarez $15 million to play second base.
I mean,
I don't know how much worse he'd be than I don't know how much worse he'd be there than Luis Arias.
That'd be fun to track. I would love for like some prognosticator to actually try to model that out. Who'd be a better second baseman?
Luis Arias or Eugenio Suarez?
It's probably closer than you think.
I think it's very close, but again, that's not the conversation. Rockies, sorry, you get 10 seconds, you're terrible.
That's it.
Now, for the Detroit Tigers, a team that we originally had in playoff run, but with the addition of Framber Valdez, and we mentioned in our video, nobody seemed to hype up Framber Valdez at all across YouTube. Kind of crazy. No respect for Framber. We respect Framber on the windup, though. I think this makes them a World Series contender. I think they have just as good of a chance as anybody in the American League to have a run to get to the World Series.
I think so too. Honestly, shame on us for not identifying this as a fit at any point during this offseason. I know there was no link whatsoever, but the way that Framber's market developed, it seems like a lot more teams got in on this during the end. I know John Heyman talked about the Blue Jays getting in. I quote tweeted making fun of him. He snapped back at me. It was nice little go back and forth with me and Johnny Boy. But
Rosenthal Pirates, he said.
yeah, which again, the Pirates love getting that last piece of information for every free agent, just to trick their fans one more time. But like, this was a team that didn't have a lot of rotation stability behind Tarek Skubal. It's easy to ignore that because you have Tarek Skubal, who's now is going to be a much richer man. Congrats to Tarek over there and the highest paid player in the history of Major League Baseball arbitration. But like Flaherty, Mize, Olsen, it's like there's some things there you like, there's some things there you definitely don't. And then there was going to be that fun but chaotic group of like Troy Melton, Sawyer Gibson-Long, Kevin Montero, Drew Anderson. You were like, all right, these guys all have like something they do well, but like in the rotation from opening day, just adding Framber and knocking all of those guys down a rung, taking so much pressure off those other guys, like that's massive for this team.
Yeah, it's funny. Again, this is a ceiling video, but I think Framber does both. I think he raises the floor a ton. Again, just as a number 2, that's one of the better 2s in baseball if we're going to talk about it in that conversation. Then ceiling-wise, Framber has been a top 5 pitcher in the American League multiple times in his career. Last year, he wasn't, but I think in this ballpark, in this team, with the defense behind him, everything, I think there's totally a world where Framber could go back to being a top 5 Cy Young guy.
I will say this: the park is a big upgrade for him as a pitcher, going from Houston with Daikin Park now to Comerica in Detroit. The infield defense will be much worse.
That's fair.
The Tigers last year had one of the worst infield defenses in the league, where the Astros had one of the best. Jeremy Pena's a wizard out there at shortstop. Framber's a 60% ground ball guy. That is something that could come to bite them. We could see some adjustments for Framber. We could see more four-seam fastballs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we could see him maybe try to put the ball in the air more, because Houston's a place you never want the ball in the air, which is why Framber was such a perfect match there. But it's such a big deal for them to get Framber, because they really needed another dude, and he was the best free agent available, and they got him.
And we talk about it from the offensive side too. Like Riley Green, again, for whatever Tigers fans have like a weird reason they are not that high on Riley Green. Riley Green's awesome. He's a fantastic player. Put him in the corner outfield, good defense, going to hit 30 home runs a year. Again, don't really care about the strikeouts when he hits like that. Spencer Torkelson, ceiling, 30 home run guy, 800 OPS. That's fantastic. You look around this infield, even some of the prospects that they bring up. Kerry Carpenter, his ceiling is being healthy, and if he's healthy, he's one of the best right-handed pitching mashers in baseball. He absolutely crushes right-handed pitching. Kevin McGonigal's probably going to make his way onto this team at some point. Like I think this is a really strong team, and I criticize them a lot for not going out and getting more bats, but we're seeing more and more teams kind of lean on their top prospects, and they're top prospects for a reason. I think they fully expect that those guys are going to be impact players maybe as soon as this year.
Especially McGonigal, like the way that he crushed Double-A last year. I think he got a cup of coffee in Triple-A, if I'm not mistaken.
And
like
he crushed the fall league too, I think.
Like it looks like there's really not much of a concern about what this guy could be at the next level. The biggest thing is his defense, honestly. But I think they're just going to shoehorn him in a shortstop because that's what's open right now. Maybe next year without Gleyber Torres, he moves over the second. But he didn't get the cup of coffee in Triple-A. But like at Double-A, he was one of the best players in the whole league at 20 years old. Like, he looks like a freak of nature.
And you have Tarek Skubal, again, best pitcher arguably in baseball, 1A, 1B, wherever you want to put him.
And great sneaky work to upgrade this bullpen. Like, this is a bullpen that you probably went to the offseason saying, like, oh, the Tigers could probably make a few moves. They don't have to. I think just getting Kenley Jansen and re-signing Kyle Finnegan, who was much better with the Tigers last year at the Nationals, and they bumped up his splitter usage. Like, that's a nice, like, formidable back of the rotation. It's not wowing anybody. You're not going, wow, the Tigers have, like, the best 7, 8, 9 punch in the league. But that's a nice trio of dudes to get outs late in the game.
It is very funny how I feel like over the last few years, their, like, main stable guy that you've relied on has ended up like not being that guy that next year. So just being able to have like Kenley in there and bring Kyle Finnegan back again and still being able to build a good enough bullpen when guys like Jason Foley have fallen off so hard and Alex Lang in the past have fallen off so hard. That normally doesn't happen. So, a little tip of the cap to the Tigers there for the bullpen development too.
Yeah, definitely have a lot of options here of guys that can just kind of show up and do fun things.
Houston Astros. This is one of those where I like their roster more than I like what I think they can actually do in the season. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Like, I see their ceiling kind of being division. I don't know if this is a team that can go on a playoff run. They haven't gone on playoff runs recently. And I don't, like, another year older for this team that already feels old. Again, we've talked about it. Like, kind of feels like the fall of the Roman Empire.
It does. It is how this feels. Like, this is the Habsburgs taking over, because it's just, I don't know why no one's really talking about Josh Hader questions. I guess there aren't as many, but I don't even think he's begun throwing yet. And if you take him out of that bullpen, it gets very mortal very quickly. I mean, besides them probably getting Nate Pearson turned into like a demon, because that's just what the Astros have done over the last decade. But like, I don't know. You get this team in the playoffs. Like, how do they make a playoff run? Truthfully,
I don't know. It feels like all the teams that they would match up with in the American League, I like more in a playoff series where I might like the Astros roster more for the regular season.
I think that's why they can win the division, but I don't see them getting further than that.
Yeah, no, I definitely am there. And also, like, I mean, it is so reliant on what Jordan does. And I'll be honest, his ceiling might be 100 games right now.
I don't know about that. He's played more than that every year except last. Like, it's
But last year with him, like, just disappearing and being old man Jordan was crazy.
I mean, Kyle Tucker did the same thing. It's something maybe about their training staff. I think like Correa is the guy who I don't know where his max games played winds up. Honestly,
True. He also
I still
is
think
a guy.
I think he'll still be a good player. This team is just it's not really well constructed at this point. I don't see them really competing to go to the World Series anymore.
No. All right, Kansas City Royals, James. I'm gonna give you the reins on this one before I say anything because I think I know where you want to put them.
I mean, I think fairly. I think my Royals can compete for the division crown. Like, I'm ready-
okay. You went calm. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I think that's it. Again, like they get the bump for being an AL Central team, of course. Here, like I think if they were in the AL East, they'd probably be wild card. But that's kind of the game that we play, and they're a good team. They're well constructed. I think we'll see a lot of growth forward. And I do love the fact that Jack or Carter Jensen, like one of them, could just become a monster and like kind of transform that whole lineup.
I really hope it's Jack Caglione. I mean, listen, I like Carter Jensen too, not rooting against him, but I really hope we get to see Jack Caglione actually like get comfortable at the major league level because what he can do at the plate is phenomenal. He can be an incredible hitter at the major league level. A lot of things need to go right. I also think it was really difficult for him to be thrown into that team and be like, hey, also learn how to play right field in the biggest ballpark outside of Coors Field.
And barely play any minor league baseball. Like there was just a lot of things that went against him breaking out last year. And I still believed he was going to break out basically until the last day of the year. So I'm going to go into the season with the exact same belief.
And there's a world where in the American League, the Kansas City Royals have arguably the best offensive player in Bobby Witt Jr., or value-wise that plays offense, and arguably one of the best pitchers. Like if Cole Reagans is healthy this year and does what he has in the past, he could very easily be a Cy Young candidate.
I'd say comfortably those guys are both top 3 in the American League in all facets. I think that's an important thing for a team like this who just probably needs to win 86 games to win their own division.
I was about to say, and in the AL Central, that's just good enough to be the best team in that league, in that division.
Yeah, that's it. They can do it.
Angels, is there a world where they could get to 500?
Ass.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. That team's bad. But I will say this: I'm gonna keep a little eye out on them, and the reason being is that Mike Maddox is their pitching coach now.
Okay.
Not that I believe that Mike Maddox is like the savant necessarily that he used to be, but there is something about a guy who's just been a baseball dude, a pitching dude like that for as long as he has. It seems like they haven't had any pitching development in 20, 25 years. So like a new face in there, a voice that people respect in the league. I am interested to see what that looks like, but also at the same time, that is kind of the demise of the Angels is just, let's see if the old guys can bring up some juice, and it doesn't work.
I'll say I was quick with that. There probably is a world where they can sneak to 500.
Is there?
I actually do think there is because I mean, what you're saying about Mike Maddox makes a lot of sense. I do think that Reed Detmers back in the rotation could provide some intrigue this year. Like that's someone to watch early.
That will be a huge Mike Maddox win because he's such a good reliever, such a bad starter.
Yes, but again, it's possible there. And I think Jose Soriano, like he showed enough to be like a major league caliber starter last year. I believe he's that. Yusei Kikuchi is like also just a rock solid middle rotation guy. And like I don't believe this lineup all of these things will happen. But like between Neto, Trout, Adele, like Josh Lowe, Jorge Soler, like that you could squint it. You could see something happen there.
I forgot they had Josh Lowe. Oh,
yeah,
man.
right. They made that trade. It was I think
they said another old prospect.
It was 90 seconds after the Kyle Tucker signing, so everyone forgot about it. But it was Josh Lowe and it was Gavin Lux that was going to the Rays. Like it's a weird trade, but like
that's right. Gavin Lux going to the Rays too.
He's going to hit leadoff him. He's like the 4th best hitter. But there's like Vaughn Grissom's on this team. Travis d'Arnaud, Jorge Soler, Josh Lowe, Joe Adell, Yoan Moncada. Like this is Grayson Rodriguez, Alec Manoah.
Team would have been sick in 2018.
Drew Pomeranz, Kirby Yates, Jordan Romano. Like think about the names I'm telling you right now. They're on this team.
Yeah, but they all feel washed. That's the common denominator.
Trey Mancini is a non-roster invite for this team.
Good for Trey Mancini. I hope he does well.
Nick Madrigal.
Madrigal?
Our boy Luke Ritter. Like
they have Luke Ritter?
Matthew Lugo, Nelson Rada. Like if you were keeping track of prospects in 2017, there's a good chance they're on the Angels.
Well, Nelson Rada, I think, is like 18 years old now. I think he was like really? Who am I thinking of? They have one guy who's like
I thought there was a Rada that was back in the day. Oh, yeah, this is a different round. My bad. Take that
Yeah,
one back.
I think
You
Nelson
said
Rod is like 19. He went to AAA last year, but that's
Jose
simply because
Siri's on this roster.
that was simply just because the Angels are like, you're a prospect, major leagues. Come on.
Do you remember Elijah Dunham? Do you remember Wade Meckler?
Whoa, Wade Meckler. He was someone that I never understood why people had hyped.
These are the guys in this organization right now. It's kind of fun.
Dodgers, let's just be quick. World Series, obviously.
World Series, yeah. There was a part of me that wanted to make them the only World Series team on this tier list. That I thought that'd be boring.
That would also like feed into the annoying like idiot baseball fans who are like, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. No one can win the World Series.
Why's your idiot baseball voice just John Jastrzemski?
Well, I think you just said why. Miami Marlins.
Here we go. Like I 500, I think for sure.
Yes.
I would have argued for the wild card if they didn't trade Edward Cabrera, but
And I think there's probably a world where they also trade Sandy this year. And this is going to sound crazy. This might be a bigger step back year than last year was a step forward. But that step back, get ready. That step back this year will help them get forward way faster in the coming years. Because like this is kind of the final straw of the guys that they kind of need to figure out what the deal is and how to get rid of them. And then they can actually kind of start what will be like that Rays churning machine that we saw in Tampa with Peter Bendix.
And we're going to start seeing some of these prospects, if they've been developing themselves, come to fruition this year. I think Joe Mack is an exciting left-handed hitting catcher. We both like Thomas White and Robbie Snelling a lot. Robbie Snelling was a trade. Thomas White was a draft pick. But like there's a good bit of intrigue that's coming through with this team soon. It's just probably not enough yet to actually compete. But like the way they found ways to win the margins last year, like it reminded me of watching the second half Blue Jays from 2024, where this team is just full of baseball rats. They play good defense. They put the ball in play.
They definitely lack that top end talent in terms of players that the Blue Jays
100%.
had.
But like I just the style of baseball they were winning with was like these guys are grinding it out, and like it's fun to watch a young baseball team grind it out like that, and like really enjoy the game day to day.
It's also really cool too because when the Mets played them early on in the year, I remember watching them, and I think me and you both were like, "Man, the Marlins they play bad baseball." Like it looked like Clayton McCullough was a little bit lost at times in those first couple months. First time manager, probably should have given him more credit. But by the end of the year, like you said, they were playing good baseball. They were playing fundamental
100%.
baseball. Where at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of like, I don't think what they're trying to do over there is going to work. Like, it makes no sense what's happening.
And I think I mentioned this in the power rankings video we did. I think that before this one comes out, but like a subtle change they made was just flip flopping Xavier Edwards and Otto Lopez, kind of admitting Xavier Edwards wasn't a shortstop and being okay with that, letting Otto Lopez play great defensive shortstop, kind of like sliding into being like Geraldo Perdomo before Geraldo Perdomo became Geraldo Perdomo. It's one I'm kind of sneaking up on right now because it's kind of funny, but like Xavier Edwards also being a good defensive second baseman and that getting himself back on track at the plate. This team really just comes down to between the three outfielders, Marcy, Stowers, Owen Casey, could one guy be a star? Could one guy be above average? And could the third guy be average? And I think all of those guys actually have star potential to me. And all those guys do still have pretty significantly low floors, but there's ball players out there. And I really want to see if something happens here.
Yeah, and we will say 500 would be a huge win again for the Marlins, by 100%. The way. That would be a massive success for this team. If they win 81 games, again, they'll still be in the wild card probably into the middle of September if you're going to be an 81-win team.
And again, last year they won 79. They weren't that far from this. Like this, and they get trade two players that are in their rotation, one for the whole season and one for a little bit of it, who are good. But like, there's a world here where something gets figured out. Yep. I think it'll be fun to watch. 500,
I think, is fair. All right, Milwaukee Brewers. I think we just kind of have to put them in playoff run, right? Like we just saw them do it, and I do think
I was going to argue the opposite.
Really, you think that they're not going to actually be able to win a playoff series? Basically, like they can't get to the NLCS again.
I don't think they can get to the NLCS again. I could see them winning a 3-game series, but
just because no Freddie, you think that's the big one?
I think it's a huge one. Last year there was no Woodruff in the playoff run, so I guess that was kind of like the same thing with Freddie. But I trust Freddie more than I trust Woodruff at this point. It's just they basically need the Brewers' demon magic to turn Logan Henderson like into a monster. Like this team can't really take a go on a playoff run with just Woodruff, Mizrowski, and Priester. We don't know what Priester winds up as. We know Chad Patrick is Chad innings either. Like there's.
Could the offense be good enough though, where the pitching is like? Because we know the Brewers are going to be like with Chad Patrick, with Quinn Priester, even with Logan Henderson at times, turbo 5 innings, and then let the bullpen be demons.
And the bullpen will be demons. Like I think you're going to see a step from Brandon Sproat. He's going to pitch in the major leagues for that team this year and probably pitch well. Like we're going to see guys like Cooper Pratt and Jet Williams probably get their first shots, cups of coffee. But the way this team goes in the playoff run is that Jackson Churio becomes Julio Rodriguez. and I guess I'm just not sure it happens this year.
Okay. So
But maybe it does. Like
I think I'd like to put them in playoff run. I still think that this team is like very good and relatively like speaking to the teams I think like in the division. Like I can't put them in the same thing as the Reds.
Why?
I just think that I guess I'm looking at floor. Maybe that's the problem.
I think we're looking at ceiling. I think the Red ceiling is
know,
higher
but-
than the Brewers.
You think so?
I think if every single thing clicks for every single player on the team.
To be fair, that is very much how we think, though. Like I'm thinking offense, and like the Reds have like three guys with offensive ceiling. Where I see the Brewers lineup, it's like
four?
William Contreras is very good. Bryce Terang just put in a great
Bryce Terang,
season.
great, yeah.
We saw Christian Yelich offensive ceiling. It would be great. Jackson Chourio is great. Like even the guys that I'm not like the biggest believers in, like Sal Frelick and like Durbin.
Those are the guys you're banking on if you want to say that this team's ceiling is higher than a team like the Red ceiling.
And they kind of just did it last year.
They kind of did. I mean, they also played. Last year might have just been the absolute ceiling for this team.
It's fair.
But again, like, are we talking about this more in terms of regular season accomplishments or postseason accomplishments? Because they beat the Cubs team that we degraded all through last year, rightfully, and just the fact that they kind of also barely outlast them in that 5-game series on the ceiling of their bullpen. So maybe that bullpen is what still pushes them ceiling to a playoff team. But the
rotation is concerning. I think that's the one thing.
It's not concerning. It's definitely a good regular season rotation. Like, I fully believe in this rotation for the regular season. But
I'm saying with the playoff stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Woodruff's questionable health grade and just wanting to see if any of Priest or Patrick Henderson go nuclear. And I think the most likely of that trio is Henderson. You got to squint a little bit to see this happen. Like, or maybe it's just Angel Zerpa. Like, maybe Angel Zerpa.
Yeah, maybe he's just that guy.
Again, like
I'll give you division.
They were the team coming into this where I was like, this is the one team I'm lower on in terms of ceiling. But their floor, I think, is tremendously high still.
All right, I'll give you division. That's fine. You can convince me.
Yeah.
Minnesota Twins.
You want to get crazy? Division.
Don't say division.
Division. Why not?
They have 6 major leaguers.
if this is every single player in 90th percentile outcome, it's division.
I mean,
injuries are off.
Okay, injuries. I know injuries are off. I'm trying to see if there's a world where I can say that. Okay, because like go around there. James, I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah.
Go around their infield. Tell me who's playing every position this year. I'd actually love to hear.
All right, well, first base, I think we're going into the season with, everyone's favorite old-time first baseman mercenary, Josh Bell.
I believe that is the first baseman.
Second base is Luke Keeschel, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Shortstop, I think it's going to be Brooks Lee. I don't like him very much.
Brooks Lee, yeah, okay. So
and the third base, we're having ceiling conversations with Royce Lewis.
I think that ceiling's come way down on Royce Lewis based on what we saw last year.
Yeah, you're probably right. I probably was a little aggressive with that. We could go back to wild card, but
yeah, I think I have to go wild card again. Like this is the projected lineup, and by the way, their projected DH is just their backup catcher in Victor Caratini. Like
it's just bad.
Like I mean, this is a bad lineup. And listen, I love Matt Wallner. I think Matt Wallner is going to be a great player at some point, but also he's sneaky 28, which is kind of insane. Like I feel like he gets talked about as a young guy. The rotation's where we see the fun. Like, that's where we could have some fun. You mentioned Simeon Woods Richardson before. It looked great second half of the year. Bailey Ober can't be as bad as he was last year. There's just no way. Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez are great. And I do think they're going to get Taj Bradley to be a good pitcher. His few starts he made at the end of the year with the Twins, he looked phenomenal.
I think if not Taj Bradley, someone like Zebby or Mick Abel or even David Festa finds themselves as a middle of rotation guy. Like the fact that this team has this poor depth everywhere except their rotation, where they have 9 guys who could be interesting, it's very funny. Maybe they should have traded one of them.
Yeah, they probably should have. What's funny too is that putting them and the Guardians in the same tier is so funny because I think the baseball world is Guardians smart, cunning, they gas them up. Twins probably just have a better roster than the Guardians even right now.
I think they actually do, but they don't have the devil magic. For the Twins,
yes, if they had the Guardians' devil magic, I'd give you division in a heartbeat.
Orlando Arcia is going to probably get most of the shortstop reps for the Twins this year. But the funny thing about this Twins team is that while their outfield is formidable and their infield's terrible, they're ready to graduate a few great outfield prospects. Emmanuel Rodriguez will play in the major leagues this year.
Yep.
Walker Jenkins has an outside chance to play in the major leagues this year. Those two guys together, those look like they're going to be the outfield just the next great Twins team. But they already have enough moderately decent outfielders right now where it's probably just not going to be the time for both of them to get their shot.
No, I'm with you on that. I agree. I think wild card is kind of the right place for them. All right. Should I change my hat, put on my Mets hat here for this one? Got the New York Mets. Where are you putting them, James? Because you know where I want to put them.
I mean, I think objectively speaking, as two baseball analysts, if everything hits for the Mets team based on their ceiling, they could compete for the World Series.
Yeah, of course they could. I mean, they had 2024 was a worse team. and they got to the NLCS. I think this team's stronger, better depth. I like everything that the Mets are doing this offseason. And I think a lot of people see losing Edwin Diaz and seeing losing Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso. And you kind of just ignore all the good that the Mets did bring in. Like, Jorge Polanco is a good ball player. We brought Luis Robert to be in center field.
Bo Bichette
at third base. I mean, it might be a little bit of a journey to get there, but, like, he's going to mash. We know he's going to hit. Carson Bench is a top prospect coming up. We got Freddie Peralta. I think there's a conversation for spots where the Mets may have gotten worse, but I think you could make an argument that they got better in other more important positions.
I think a big key for this Mets team is going to be how they manage their bullpen. And basically, like, we've been hearing a lot, I think rightfully over the last few years, about basically since David Stearns took over, and especially since Eric Yeagers took over the whole organization's pitching development. Like, what's a player development machine that's been churning for the Mets. And now is kind of going to be rubber meets the road time, where we have to start to see, not have to, but like it'd be really nice to see some bullpen demons sprout that out.
Yes,
ground.
it really would be. Like Dylan Ross and Ryan Lambert.
Like Jonathan Pintaro, like it would help. It would just help this Mets team a lot, because that seems to be the weakness right now. But it seems like organizationally, they're confident in that weakness that gets turned into something that's, at least, I've used this word a few times, formidable. So if that happens and you just get Devin Williams to pitch like normal Devin Williams, like this, suddenly the bullpen's actually backside of the top 10 now. If the bullpen's backside of the top 10 with the with the rotation depth and with this lineup, there's no reason the ceiling of this team can't be, going toe-to-toe with the Dodgers and hopefully winning a playoff series.
And again, using like a, objective is opinion, subjective is?
Objective is objective, subjective's opinion.
Okay, subjective's opinion. If you look at like projections and like WAR rankings and everything like that, Mets are like in the top 5. And you're in the top 5 in baseball, you're a World Series contender. So save me with the bullshit that we're Mets bias on this one.
And also talk about the fact that some of these other lineups, like even a team like the Cubs that we put in here, I think the Cubs have a much more stable floor in their team, but the Mets are going to have 2 hitters, probably 3 hitters in this lineup that could be better than the Cubs' best hitter.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident in that.
So I think that's something that, especially when we talk about ceiling. For a Cubs team, we already put in this tier, and the Braves team we already put in this tier, who's like they're pure paper tigers. Like this, if everything goes right, like if Marcus Semien is an average player, Jorge Polanco just plays 140 games, and Bo Bichette plays 140 games. And the depth that they have around the infield, like the fact that Brett Beatty's a chess piece for them, like same with Ronnie Mauricio, like Mark Vientos isn't even close. The Mets are still trying to get Mark Vientos off this team. And 2 years ago, he was a 30 homer, 820 OPS guy.
I was gonna say, like, talk about like a theoretical ceiling. I don't even believe in it, but like there'll be people out there that'll try to tell you Mark Vientos will be a great hitter this year.
100%. I mean, simply the projections say he will be.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the projection systems have Mark Vientos, steamer being the most favorable, the 115 WRC plus. It's like, I don't see that happening.
I'll fall to my knees if he does that.
I mean, I don't know what team he'll do it for, but like, it's this team. There's a lot of ways for this team to hit their ceiling. I think that's the cool thing about where they went this offseason.
Yes, I agree. I think they belong in the World Series ceiling for sure. New York Yankees as well. Just throw them up there in the World Series. I mean, you're talking about some of the best teams in baseball here, and for the Yankees, the team was capable of hopefully making it to the World Series last year. They didn't because they ran into the buzzsaw that was the Blue Jays, but like roster-wise and team-wise, they're clearly there too.
Like the Yankees, like right now, their projected lineup, like Jazz Chisholm might hit 6th.
Like, my favorite thing to say about the Yankees is that this is a World Series team that can't because they're mentally just so weak. And the guys who run these teams, from the manager to the GM, are morons and idiots now. So, like, that's what's holding them back. If they had any ounce of dog in them, if Aaron Judge could really be that guy. Aaron Judge was great last postseason.
Yeah.
But, like, if they had anybody that was a dog in this lineup, truthfully, in the playoffs, who could show up and help Aaron Judge out,
Giancarlo.
Yeah, they would have been World Series team last year.
And also think about the ceiling for a team like the Yankees, where if/when Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon come back, you go into a playoff series, Cole, Fried, Schlittler, Rodon.
Yeah, it's really good.
And like with Ryan Weathers being like, and Luis Gil being like your move around chess piece,
Will
like long
Warren.
reliever guys.
Yeah.
Like that's disgustingly good. And again, they've paid well for the team to be good. Like Jason Dominguez, similar to the Mark Vientos Mets thing, like being the depth on your bench for when Giancarlo Stanton inevitably gets injured. Like this team is well constructed. The bullpen probably does have some holes, but I think the Yankees have earned the benefit of the doubt of like finding random relievers who are better than we think in February.
And like Camille Duvall's ceiling is becoming an elite reliever, I think. So like,
yeah, but we'll see. We'll see if Camilo Doval takes his warm up seriously. If he actually can throw the ball in the strike zone.
Pretty good chance he doesn't.
Yeah, but like even still, like Camilo Doval, Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, Jake Bird, like you could do a lot worse with a chaos group of relievers.
Definitely, yes. There are a lot worse reliever groups out there.
Yeah.
Athletics. I want wild card.
I would say I was going to argue for division if we want to talk about ceiling.
I mean, not with that pitching. I don't think they can win the division with that pitching, especially with the Astros and the Mariners in front of them. It's just you're gonna have to own those teams for the A's to get there, and I just don't see that when they have that pitching going up against those lineups. That being said, this is my fun American League watch team. Like we know, my Pittsburgh Pirates are in the National League.
10 p.m.
I'm locked into A's games this year. I love this lineup. I love this team.
Again, we're talking about ceiling. The ceiling is this team has the best lineup in baseball.
Yes, undoubtedly.
Like Nick Kurtz got all the shine last year. Tyler Soderstrom stepping up and getting moving to the outfield, winning a Gold Glove there. That got Jacob Wilson with the high batting average. That got a lot of shine. Shea Langoliers in the second half last year was one of the best players in baseball.
He hit 30 home runs, guys, and he plays great catcher defense.
Like there's a window where you have between Langoliers, Kurtz, Soderstrom, Rooker, Jacob Wilson, Lawrence Butler on that team. Like as an offensive core, that's wickedly good.
Yeah. Stupid
good. Like I just named you 5 guys. Like you could get easy 200 home runs out of that crew.
And like I'll even go a little bit further too. Like Jeff McNeil at second base. Like Jeff has been great in the past, and even this past year was hitting really well for the Mets up until kind of that last month. Like if Jeff McNeil goes back to being like a 110 WRC plus guy, that's huge for this roster who had a gaping hole at second base all of last year.
And the reason for ceiling, I would argue them a bit higher. Happy to put them in wild card, but why I could argue for division is that if Gage Jump comes up from the minor leagues and smashes and actually gives them like a frontline guy, like if he does for them what Nolan McLean did for the Mets last year, but it happens in like May instead of August, then like Severino Springs, Jacob Lopez as a middle of the rotation could be very passable if everything goes right. None of those guys get hurt like they all always do.
And I think the one thing you are forgetting is that I don't know how they get outs after those starting pitchers come into the game.
No idea.
Yeah. My guy, Elvis Alvarado? That's my dude.
He's got stuff.
He's
Tyler
got
Ferguson.
Stuff. Yeah. Like, that's the guy to keep an eye out for. But I think wild card's a fair, exciting place to put the A's. Shout out Sam.
Shout out Sam. We love the A's.
Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, we're just going to drag them into wild card. World Series, right?
I was going to say playoff run.
You don't think that this is a World Series team anymore?
I think it probably is, but then why aren't they?
Dog? No dog?
They just, it's like,
they're all bark, no bite, the Phillies team. That's truly what they are. They are all bark, no bite. Like that team carries like an aura of themselves of someone that has accomplished things, and they haven't done anything.
Also, I forgot obligatory Jack Perkins mention when talking about the A's. Want to throw him in there again for being either a bullpen to start a demon or wherever he
Apologies to the Perkins family.
Apologies to the entire A's faithful for forgetting to mention Jack Perkins. But this team got worse.
They did.
Phillies got markedly worse. And I think, again, this is a ceiling conversation. It's a ceiling video. So the conversation is about is kind of assuming that Zach Wheeler just shows up and throws 100 innings again. Like that, it seems like there was a big thing. And again, I guess with Andrew Painter taking a step forward, but like I would love to put them playoff run.
Oh, I think it would be fun. I think for the people watching this video, we're gonna keep them in World Series until the end, and we hope that someone jumps to the end and takes a screenshot.
Yes.
Of them in playoff run.
Or maybe we put a screenshot of this. Maybe we could post on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, we'll bait people, but just know that we think they're a World Series team before the engagement playoff run.
Yeah, so by the end, we're going to change that. But I guess for the actual objective baseball discussion of ceiling with Wheeler and Andrew Painter, fine, World Series team, I guess.
Pittsburgh Pirates. Let me get crazy on you for a second.
I mean, what division are they playing?
The National League Central. Let me get even crazier for you on a second. If they make the playoffs, why can't they go on a run with that pitching? Why can't they?
They can, but again, so we're talking about ceiling. We put them playoff run, would be hilarious, but we put them next to the Phillies.
For the screenshot, they'll go playoff run. I think realistically, division is a ceiling that I think could possibly, it's not likely, but you could convince me into a conversation where the Pirates are the fun, need to make trade deadline moves team to win the division.
So if they win the division, how does their offense line up?
All right.
Where are they getting their production
Let me cook. All right. Catcher, Endy Rodriguez, healthy.
Oh, finally, you're backing on Endy.
He's back. Healthy, average year. That's all we need from Endy at catcher. First base, Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn's been a great hitter, 120 WRC plus. He could do it, 100% in PNC. Second base, Brandon Lau, 30 home runs, healthy season. Shortstop, Connor Griffin. Need I say more? He starts opening day. This guy could be in the MVP conversation. Third base, Jared Triolo. No disrespect to my guy, Jared Triolo. That guy had an incredible second half. I'm buying it. They traded Key Brian Hayes for Jared Triolo. Never forget. Outfield. Brian Reynolds. Why can't he go back to being... I'm going to be...
I think he will.
10% better than league average is what Brian Reynolds needs to be. That's what he has to be.
I think that's very fair that he even gets that. I mean, he's a guy I'm targeting every single fantasy draft. He's been too good for too long.
He's been too good for too long. O'Neal Cruz, it happens. It clicks, the synapses connect, and O'Neal Cruz not only remembers how to play baseball consistently, stays healthy, and plays good center field. And then we go to the corner, and you just go chaos with Justin Sin Garcia and whoever else they want to put out in left field.
Jake Mangum.
Jake Mangum, ceiling 95 WRC plus.
You haven't mentioned the guy who's projected to be the best hitter on this team.
Who am I forgetting?
My dog.
Your dog.
Spencer Horwitz.
Oh, how could I forget super utility Spencer Horwitz at the DH spot? There you go.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think he's a guy who's actually like probably one of the most reliable players in this team. But like this, you need for them to actually win division. Of course, you need Connor Griffin to play 150 games minimum.
That has to happen.
And you just get to this rotation like it's I don't know Skeens, Keller, Chandler, Ashcraft can drag you around. The midseason when Jared Jones comes back, like you could have the best five besides the Dodgers in the National League.
And what's really fun too is that the spot that feels like the weakest to them, being like left field or even like third base, I feel like at the deadline, based on what they've done with their farm system, you could make a big trade and go get a guy in an expiring contract at those positions that could be like an instant impact player.
And Trillo's also he's so good at defense that like you hit him eighth every single day and you put him at third, like you really feel okay about it.
Yeah, like imagine a world where like in left field, let's just pretend like the Orioles have another like catastrophic season, right? Taylor Ward's going to be available. Pirates pick up like a Taylor Ward, bring him into that lineup. That would be fun.
Like there will be plenty of teams that have left fielders that they're ready to trade.
Shit, Nick Castellanos might be their left fielder, and on that team hitting like seventh, I kind of like it.
He actually might be the left fielder. He might bring the necessary like spunk that this team kind of needs to get themselves over the hump. Also, like their bullpen, it doesn't look like a lot that meets the eye, but the wind-up combination of Justin Lawrence and Mason Montgomery, we're talking about ceiling.
Yeah.
That could be one of the best. That could be one of the best 8-9 punches in the league.
Legitimately could be, along with Dennis Santana, who's been great. Like I don't know how he's done it, but he's been great.
Guy's nails. Like, but it's there's something there where they actually can get themselves to that spot.
Division, we'll put division, but just let me know, and I'm all in on the playoff run. All right, San Diego Padres. People are crazy high on them, and then like I've even talked to some friends who are like, oh, like the Padres seem like they're gonna be pretty good, and I'm like, yeah, name their fourth starting pitcher.
Oh, but that's not what this conversation is about.
But that is their ceiling, though.
But we took our shots at the Padres in the power rankings because their floor is so piss poor. But in terms of a ceiling, it's like
it's wild card.
I mean, again, they can't literally win their division.
Exactly, that's
so
it.
I guess it can be, but they can reach the divisional round.
Maybe, I don't know.
Get them. I mean, again, like last year, the fact that they didn't hit in that series against the Cubs destroyed them. Like maybe that's also what's like sticking in our minds, making us think this team is dead. But if by some miracle you get to a postseason series with Michael King and Joe Musgrove healthy,
all right, fine.
Then you can. Like I don't like them. I don't respect them. I don't want to watch them this year.
You're right. This is a ceiling conversation, and just having Tatis, Machado, Merrill, those guys can carry the offense.
In terms of ceiling, yeah, Flory loves to make fun of them, but ceiling, no shot.
Yeah. All right, San Francisco Giants. This one I can't get by. I can't go any higher than wild card. I won't do it.
Absolutely not. Yeah. I mean, they're just such a weird team right now. If they get Framber, though, I would put them ahead of. I'd put them divisional round because they can't win their division.
Correct.
But I think as of right now, it's kind of them and the Orioles, where I think if either team gets Framber, they jump up a tier easily.
Yeah, but the problem is that if they don't, again, this team is just. Talk about like the problem with modern baseball and the Rob Manfred wildcard system. Like the Giants are the epitome of that in the National League.
And I do wonder now about we're getting 2 years into the Buster Posey experience, and it felt like there was a lot of aggression early, and now I still give him a lot of credit for the Rafael Devers trade. Just happy to pay that contract down, but it does seem like the corners of this roster, things like that we laud a lot of the other successful lead executives for like winning on the margins, fixing the edges. It seems like that's something this team is struggling with right now. And that's the thing that can get them from like 80 to 86 wins, but I don't know if they're getting there.
Like you look at a lot of other teams and you like see moves and you can kind of see the process. I don't know what the Giants' vision is besides like thinking that the moves that they're going to make are going to help them win more games. Does that make sense?
Yeah, again, but again,
like I see them like being like Luis Ariz, like, well, he's probably going to hit 320. Like that's how they think about it.
I hope they don't hit him leadoff because he's not a very good leadoff hitter. But if he hits like seventh for them, I think he helps a lot.
Hit him 9.
And it is like Harrison Bailey and Luis Arias are like they're good players for that. Like I didn't think they needed a third left-handed hitting first baseman on this roster, but now they have 3 of them. And like Casey,
I mean, they might have 2 of them.
like now they have 3 with Eldridge.
No, I'm saying Rafael Devers might not really be a first baseman.
Yeah, that's true. But like Casey Schmidt being like the bench piece that can move around again, that's a floor discussion. But like it is nice to have that on a roster. Like this team isn't that bad, but they're also just so not good.
Yeah, that's why I think like making
Wild
the
card.
playoffs is basically their ceiling right now.
Yeah.
Final team we had to update is going to be the Seattle Mariners. Brought in Brendan Donovan on a trade with the Cardinals. I mean, it's just, again, he is more of a floor raiser than I think ceiling for sure, but the ceiling still is going up. And the Mariners, where they were more of a fringy World Series team for us at first, now I think they're definitively again in that World Series tier.
Definitely, which is funny that we could say that like Brendan Donovan upgraded our idea of a team that much, especially a team that we already thought was World Series contender. But he's a fun little chess piece for these guys. Like the best thing about Brendan Donovan, I mean, he's like a fun offensive player. He's a grinder. He's gritty. He puts the ball in play. He gets on base. He moves the line. Puts on his hard hat. He goes to work. The fact that he can just like play any position is really helpful to them because the Mariners probably do want to see, especially early in the year, like what does Cole Young have? Like you're getting the first crack at second. Cool. Brandon Donovan played third. Like, all right, like what if Cole Young falters, but Colt Emerson just tears the shit out of the ball in AAA? Okay, they'll put Brandon Donovan back at second, maybe give Cole Young a spell in the minors and do that. Like, what if both those guys are good? You could just sneak Brandon Donovan in the outfield. Like, what if JP Crawford goes down? Like, Brandon Donovan could play shortstop in a pinch. Like, it's a nice piece that they really needed to have that he can fill.
Yeah, he's a very good baseball player. It may not always show in like the numbers, but watching him play the game of baseball, as we mentioned in the video, like you're gonna be like, that's a good ball player right there. That's a respectful guy. What a Cardinals player Brendan Donovan was.
Yeah, right. With the Mariners player, he's not, but I'm sure he still will fit well there. And also, like the fact that I think he's gonna be a leadoff hitter, right?
I still think they might hit J-Rod leadoff.
Let's see. I think I don't know him as a table setter though. I could see them wanting like a 350 on base guy leadoff.
I could also see them hitting him too.
Yeah, J-Rod first, Donovan second, Raleigh third. Maybe, and then like you still have Naylor or Rosarena. But all I'm saying is that like that's a nice on-base guy to put either in between or on top of all of those just run mashers. Like that's a nice thing to have.
I'm sure there is the conversation of wanting Julio being able to turn his singles into doubles like that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good piece of that.
And if Donovan's hitting first, it might be a little more difficult, but then you give J-Rod more opportunities to drive in runs. This is a fun baseball conversation right here.
And also, it could be fun for J-Rod because we know the one thing that's stopping him from like legit top of the league stardom is just that chase rate still, kind of ducking and diving that pitch low and away.
On the base.
That's what I'm saying. The best protection is the guy on first, not the guy hitting behind you, as we know now. So that could be. Maybe that's the move, or maybe you just tell J-Rod like we want you to start mashing.
Yeah.
Like, keep Cal Raleigh second, so you always keep that platoon advantage. You split up Brandon Donovan, J-Rod still, but like you just get 2 guys on base. Maybe Cal clears it, and you could do like there's just so many options now with this lineup that we haven't been able to say about the top of the Mariners lineup. I feel like, but before last year in a while,
because we also talk about like best lineups, best pitching, bullpens, and stuff in baseball. Mariners are kind of up there now when you have Brendan Donovan,
top 5.
Yeah. That lineup, Cal Raleigh at catcher, disgusting. Josh Naylor looks awesome at first base. Brendan Donovan either at second or third with whoever's going to be the fill-in there. That's really good. JP Crawford is like your 8 or 9 hitter. Yeah. League average and gets on base a ton. That's exactly what you'd want. And then around the outfield, you're going to have Randy, who has been great. I know he's very streaky, but Randy's still one of the better left fielders in baseball. Center field, Julio's absolutely elite. We love Julio, and if he can ever put it together for a full season like he did his rookie year, wow, the Mariners are going to be even better than they already are.
Best player in 5 years, right?
Yeah, best player in 5 years. That's what I said. And then you go to right field, and it's going to be platoon along with like the DH spot a little bit with oh my goodness, who am I thinking? Well, your boy,
Raley.
No, the Italian from Ohio State. What's his name?
Oh, Canzone.
Yeah, Canzone there, and he mashes against Rays. Luke Raley, you got a lot of options.
Ref Snyder mashes lefties.
Yeah, Ref Snyder mashes lefties. That's another guy I was forgetting. I knew there was a platoon there. I love what the Mariners did with this team, and getting Brendan Donovan was something that they had to do, and I'm glad that they did, because while we still had them in World Series prior to that trade, now they're firm, I think the best team in the AL West. I think they have put themselves a clear rung over the Astros.
Oh, definitely. And this was also like just making sure that like Miles Mastroboni didn't get 300 plate appearances this year.
Yes.
Like, just make sure Ryan Bliss didn't get like huge at bats late in the season.
Ben Williamson.
That's the same thing. Yeah, the guy getting rid of Ben Williamson. Here's the big thing: the Rays just being taking him on is hilarious. The one thing about the Mariners that's funny now is that it's a ceiling video, so it doesn't matter so much because that rotation of Wu, Gilbert, Kirby, Castillo, Miller is awesome.
That's
But-
all time ceiling.
All time ceiling. But which we'll start to do when we talk about that next time. We do a floor video, similar concept. Without what's the baseball talk here? Without Logan Evans now for the whole season, like he was the swingman, like he was SP6. They brought in Cooper Criswell. There's some questions about Bryce Miller's health and his effectiveness after last year. Both are fair. Brian Wu ended last year not healthy, which we're conveniently forgetting because he was one of the best pitchers in the league when he was healthy. Kirby had some ups and downs. By the end of the season, he was a rock. And then Castillo showed his most age. I still think that he'll grit his teeth and basically always be successful. Like he has that vibe for me, but it's not. You're not getting top end Luis Castillo, I don't think, ever again. So that rotation's amazing, but if anything goes wrong, I don't want to rely on Emerson Hancock to be the fill-in.
Yeah, because they are a little bit away, probably conservatively, from Ryan Sloan, Kate Anderson being.
What if they're not?
You think there's just a world where those guys fly through, and we do know that the Mariners will just go AA right to the majors. They don't care. Once they see the numbers that you need to hit for them to be those kind of pitchers, you're ready for them. They don't care.
That might be one of my real niche, bold predictions this year is that Ryan Sloan could get major league innings because
he throws a ton of strikes.
He got to high A last year, and if he got to high A to end last year, he'll start high A this year. If he starts to high A this year and has a really hot April, they might push him to AA. And again, we know from the Mariners, we saw this with Wu, we saw this with Bryce Miller. I think Gilbert did make his way to Tacoma back then, but I think Kirby also made the jump from AA.
Kirby did because remember, people were like, "Who is this guy?"
Well, all these guys, there was who are these guys? The fact that Sloan and Anderson actually have this much critical appeal, I think is more makes it more interesting for me. But if Sloan is dominating AA in April, you really might see him in July in the majors at 21 years old.
And that's what makes the Mariners so fun. And that's part of the reason why they're in this World Series tier. They're just one of the best teams in baseball and definitely in the American League. St. Louis Cardinals. There's no world they can even come close to 500, right?
I don't think so with that rotation. I think they're ass.
No, they're definitely ass. And again, every time we get the chance to dunk on the Cardinals, we're going to take that. Which this is one of those opportunities.
Yeah, well, hopefully this whole season.
And I think Heimblum wants them to be ass. I don't think he wants them to win any baseball games.
No, I think he's still trying to actively trade Lars Nootbaar, Brandon Donovan, as soon as he possibly can.
Tampa Bay Rays. Can we convince ourselves wild card?
I was gonna say 500.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Again, this is the ceiling conversation, but they would have to literally best case scenario 100th percentile. I feel to make the wild card right now with this roster,
especially just because of how much they're kind of sacrificing this lineup. We're seeing a big time return to the old Rays now.
Yes,
where they're going to try and pitch their way there, and I think they will pitch their way there. I think if especially McClanahan's healthy, Rasmussen, Pepiot, McClanahan, that will. If you have to play the Rays and you really want to win a series, you're a fan of a team that's in the race, and you go oh damn it, we got Rasmussen, Pepiot, and McClanahan. These three, that sucks.
The positive is that the Rays won't let those guys go deep into the game. You'll get the bullpen, and they're just not going to score many runs. So you got to score 5, which is very doable.
This reeks of being probably one of the worst offensive teams in baseball this year. Unless again, if we're talking ceiling, I'm not going to argue them for wild card, but if Jacob Melton shows up and is actually a good hitter, and then if Carson Williams takes a step forward with his contact rate and does something with that, then all of a sudden you're okay, now we don't have the worst lineup in the league. We have the 20th worst lineup in the league, and then suddenly things look a little better there.
20th worst lineup in the league with 15th to 10th best rotation.
Yeah, no, I think that's the path forward. And then a bullpen that for some reason has the 7th lowest bullpen ERA. But this bullpen also does. They have good relievers out there, and I won't take anything away from
your boy Griffin Jacks,
Clevenger, Brian Baker, Steven Wilson has had stuff forever.
And we also know they'll trade any of them in a heartbeat too.
Happily, and the next guy will come up and do it. But this is also a year I was listening to Nick Pollock during PitchCon over the weekend. Good event he puts on every year. This is the worst rotation depth I can ever remember the Rays team having.
Yeah, the fact that Joe Boyle slated in, that's a nightmare for the Rays.
And Steven Matz.
Yeah.
But last year where they were so secure in their 5 for most of the season, I don't think I like Joe Rocket, Ian Seymour, sure.
Sure, exactly. I don't even know what a ceiling could be for those guys being major league pitchers.
The next group of demons is coming. I think that Brody Hopkins is a freak of nature. He came over from the Orioles Rand trade a few years ago. Michael Forett, who they just got in the Shane Baz trade, also looks like he's going to be a monster. I think Jackson Baumeister. I think they picked him up from the Orioles in some of the deals too. These are stuff freaks. I'm sure the Rays will turn at least one of those guys into something that looks like a frontline starter. But the whole group I just said is probably still a year away. So I am curious about like how many innings like Jesse Schultz and Ken Waldichuk get for this team this year.
Ken Waldichuk, wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's who we're working with right now. So again, the ceiling probably just is 500. Also, if they were in the AL Central, it'd probably be higher, but they're not.
Probably win the division. No.
They could probably win that division. They probably could.
Texas Rangers.
I hate this team.
Hate them too because it feels like I'm getting a little Stockholm syndrome where I'm like they could win the division, right? Best case scenario.
I mean, here we just have to be talking about ceiling. And while I hate the way that the Rangers have built this team, I don't think their ceiling is a likely outcome. Their ceiling is a team that can win a division.
Yeah, and I agree. Like again, like we saw. I don't know if DeGrom and Nathan Eovaldi can combine for the innings that they gave you again, but like ceiling conversation, they are, and
So they do, yeah.
then they're close to making the playoffs again, and they almost can't hit as bad as they did last year collectively as a team. Like they were so unlucky at times. Got to be better, surely. But
Also a bad vibes team. So
Mega
usually the
bad
bad vibes teams play below your expected outcomes. Like we saw with the Mets last year.
Yeah.
And like talk about ceiling. Like Mackenzie Gore finally takes a step. Jack Leiter takes another step forward. Like now
Kumar Rocker becomes a major league pitcher consistently.
So now all of a sudden you have a 5, and with Jacob Latz, you're like, oh, okay, this team can actually play.
Yeah, I think division's a fair spot to put them.
I hate them, but you have to put them there.
I hate them. They made us a lot of money, but I hate them.
Yeah, it did.
Man, what a generational run. All right, Toronto Blue Jays. It's just got to be World Series, right?
It has to be World Series. Because
Yeah.
we talked about in the power rankings that this Blue Jays lineup, I think, has funny enough, a very wide range of outcomes. I think the most likely outcomes, again, they're just like
Good.
a better than average lineup. But like in terms of everything clicking between Springer, Barger, Santander, Kirk, Varsho, Okamoto, like if all of those guys click.
Because
like,
we
this
know
could-
Vlad's just going to be incredible.
Yeah, like this could be the best lineup in the American League. But also if all those guys don't click, which is not what we're talking about now, like then it's going to be an issue. But we're talking ceiling right now.
Similarly with their pitching and their bullpen, it's like things click. Like, why is this team not better than they were last year?
And we respect the coaching, you respect the culture they've built. Like I think Gosman, Cease, and if Bieber's healthy as a top 3 is awesome. With you Savage, like now, so you're like, damn, like that's a 3-game series against this team. You know they're going to work you to the bone, and you hate seeing them on the schedule.
I know, like Jose Barrios is like, "Bleh," but like as a 5,
Yeah, him and Cody Ponce, like that's easy.
Washington Nationals last team.
Ass.
There's just
Crazy ass.
Again, I think they're sneaky going to compete for being like the worst team in baseball.
I think their goal is to be the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, when we'll see if they trade C.J. Abrams before opening day. Do you think C.J. Abrams is a national by the end of the year?
I think he is, but I think they don't really want him to be.
It doesn't seem like they want him to be.
I don't know who else they'd have to play shortstop, but I think they're going to go.
Where's Carter Keyboom?
I mean, I think the Angels.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I think he is.
I think he actually is on the Angels. That was pure deadpan, but I think he is. He's like, the fact that they're moving Luis Garcia off second to play first, it tells me that this is a team that's going to try and take like the defensive spectrum very seriously now, more seriously than they've ever taken in the past. And I think that they would love to move C.J. Abrams to second, but no, they can't trade him if they do that.
Yeah, that's the problem. They need to figure out who that shortstop's going to be if it's not Abrams. But all right, this is our ceiling.
move the
tier
Phillies,
list.
move the Phillies.
Move the Phillies and put the Pirates. Right.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so this is our screenshot. Let's just talk about it for 10 seconds, just in case people are looking at it. I mean, Phillies playoff run just right next to the Pirates. Okay, now we got that one out there. Let us know what you guys are thinking in the comment section. I'm going to put them back now. I'll put them back where they belong. Let us know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below. We could do a floor tier list if you guys want to see that. You want to see what we think these teams stink, what they look like.
The worst case scenario for every team.
I'm down to be a hater for another 40, 50 minutes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the Windup. Shout out the members. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Draft Deck Mark. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.